Today, we will be getting all achievements on Code Vein. If you haven't heard about this game, it's basically Dark Souls mixed with anime. Or as some people would like to call it, anime Dark Souls. This game takes about 75 hours and 3 playthroughs to get all 43 achievements. And if you're anything like me, you hate doing multiple playthroughs to get a single achievement.
Know your fucking place, trash. Fucking robots.
But that's enough talking for now, let's get into the video. First, start off our journey by choosing a name for a character, and you guys already know what they call me throughout these streets. We then had to make our character, and you know, I had to make him look sexy.
Ha! Gay!
After 5 minutes of hard work and dedication, I present to you my glorious king. We then load into the tutorial area where we learn basic controls like how to attack and dodge. We then learn about blood codes, which are basically classes that have abilities tied to them called gifts. To get all the achievements, we will need to collect all the blood codes and a bunch of gifts. After we finish the tutorial, we are woken up by a baby girl. We then get captured by randoms and are thrown inside a pit, which is our first playable area. Upon clearing a mob, we get our first achievement, Drink Deep, for successfully using a special drain from a parry, back attack, or launch attack. After navigating through the area, we finally make it to the first boss of the game. After defeating the boss, we get an achievement for defeating Oliver Collins in the ruined city underground. This fight made me realize that I sucked. After realizing that I sucked, I decided to go on my training arc and disable the in-game companion and see how far I could make it through the game without using it. So we said goodbye to Lewis and started pushing forward. However, this proved to be very difficult as not even 15 minutes later I ended up dying. Anyways, upon spawning back and going through the level again, we finally meet our first real challenge of the run. And it was this boss. Yes, this boss. The succubus boss took me about 2 hours to beat because I kept dying and dying, dying and dying over and over again until I finally had the run where I locked in and entered the flow state. And there it was. the first boss we beat without the companion. We were then awarded with the achievement Butterfly of Delirium. Not even 15 minutes later, we get our next achievement, Lewis's Memories, reviewing Lewis's memory echoes. Upon entering the next area, I decide that it's time to go back to base to get new upgrades. I also decided to restore the vestiges I have right now, which are basically the memories of the characters we've seen so far. And upon clearing the memories of the Hunter Vestige, we get our next achievement. Coco's Memories, reviewing Coco's memory echoes. We then face our next boss who looks like a weird dog, and it was actually really easy to beat him, taking us only 2 tries. And on this attempt we end up taking him down, granting us the achievement Insatiable Depot, for defeating the Insatiable Depot in the dried up trenches.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
We then make it to the next map, and when I tell you this map was horrible, it was horrible. For starters, this map had a lot of water, meaning that you couldn't run. So the whole map is just you dodging and dodging and dodging, just trying to get through the water. Another thing that annoyed me about this map is that it was so foggy that you had to use these little lighthouse thingies to navigate through the map.
I cannot see, I'm legally blind.
Then meet the next boss, who is some water stripper lady, and god damn, she's bad. After dying a couple times to this boss, we decide that it's time to go back to base and see if we can upgrade anything. While at the base, I realized we can get a quick achievement, and we do just that. We get the achievement, Building Trust, for giving a desired valuable to a friend. Before leaving the base, we realized that there is another achievement we can do, which required us to go through Yumiko's memory. Upon completing it, we get the achievement Yumiko's Memories, for viewing Yumiko's memory echoes. After that, we go back to the boss fight with our newfound upgrades, and after a couple of tries and attempts, we finally beat it. This earned us the achievement Invading Executioner, for defeating the Invading Executioner in the Howling Pit. After beating the boss, we go back to base and equip a new weapon that we just got. Upon equipping this weapon, we get the achievement, A Weapon for Every Season, which is to equip every weapon type. Fast forward to the next map. This map was aesthetically the best looking map in the game. The gameplay wise was horrible. This is due to the fact that this map is just so confusing to navigate. You could put all the footage on this map on 30x speed and the clip would still be 3 minutes long. Which goes to show you that I did not have a fun time with this map. However, this map had something that the other maps didn't have. It had a mini boss. I am sad to say though that after defeating this boss, we did not get an achievement. After that boss fight, we find a vestige that leads us into our own memories and takes us to an entirely new map. At first, I thought completing this map would give us no achievement since it was an optional part of the story. However, upon beating this boss, we get the achievement Queen's Knight for defeating the Queen's Knight within your memory. After returning back, I realized that we have a lot of souls, so we use them to buy gifts. And after unlocking this final gift, we get the achievement gift for learning 50 gifts. A couple minutes after that, we find the boss of the area, who was an alpha wolf god rogue. This boss, like most of the other ones, wasn't too hard. The only good part about the fight was that it had a second phase, which was good. The second phase turned the alpha wolf into a sigma wolf. After defeating the second phase, we get the achievement Successor of the Ribcage for defeating the Successor of the Ribcage in the Cathedral of the Sacred Blood. After, we go back to base, and upon talking to Io, she takes us through a memory. And upon completing this memory, we get our next achievement. We get the achievement Io's memories for viewing Io's memory echoes. 2 minutes later, we get the achievement Revenant Requisites for equipping every Blood Veil type. The next map we go through is the Ice map, and this map, it was alright. There isn't much to say about it, but I did like the boss fight because of how cool the boss looked. I liked the heavy metal it had and everything. As for the mechanics of the boss, it wasn't too bad. We beat him after a couple of tries and we get the achievement Successor of the Breath for defeating the Successor of the Breath and the Ridge of Frozen Souls. For our next achievement, we have to go through this cave and kill this boss. After a couple of tries, we end up taking him down and getting the achievement Gilded Hunter for defeating the Gilded Hunter in the Ashen Cavern. After exiting the Ashen Cavern, we are immediately thrown into the next map, and like all the other maps, we go through it and kill the boss. After killing this cat, we get the achievement Successor of the Claw for defeating the Successor of the Claw in the city of Melling Plains. The next order of business was once again to take down another boss. The achievement we get for beating this boss is the Successor of the Throat, Pause, for defeating the Successor of the Throat in the Crown of Sand. Now the next boss broke, and this is because instead of facing just one boss, we were facing two. And since we had no companions, both bosses were always aggroed on us, making it difficult to attack and even dodge sometimes. My plan for this boss fight was to finish one off before attacking the other one. This was very difficult as the other one would attack me out of my field of view and I would constantly get hit by some of his attacks. There were many times where I got close to beating both of the bosses, but I couldn't just because of dying to stupid shit. And after multiple deaths like this, I was really close to breaking. And after 3 hours of pain and agony, we finally beat him and get the achievement Blade Bearer and Cannoneer for defeating the Blade Bearer and Cannoneer in the Crypt Spiral. Not even a minute later, we are thrown into another boss fight, and at this point, I'm exhausted. So after I died, I decided that I would turn to the evil side and use a companion. So after reselecting the companion and upgrading their equipment, we were ready to take on the world. And let me tell you, after not using the companion for so long, using one made the game feel like it was unfair. Since we started using the companion again, we also got the achievement Together Until Oblivion for listening to partner conversations 50 times while exploring. And on the same run, we end up beating the boss, which earns us the achievement Juzo Item for defeating the boss of the Crypt Spiral, Juzo Item. Our next achievement is called Resonant Power for executing a communal gift Our next achievement is for killing this one boss, which earns us the achievement Queen's Knight Reborn for defeating the Queen's Knight Reborn in the provisional government outskirts. For our next achievement, we had to beat the final boss of the game, who was called the Skull King. Now this boss wasn't exactly hard, it just took us a couple of tries. Upon beating him, we get the achievement Skull King for defeating the Skull King in the goal of the Signet Blood. Now the hard part about this boss was that the boss had two phases, and the second phase ended up making him really tanky. After beating the second phase and watching the ending cutscene, we get our achievement, To Eternity, reviewing the To Eternity ending. And with that achievement being unlocked, we now only have 2 playthroughs left to do. But before heading into our next playthrough, there are still more achievements we can do in this one. So we go back to base and get our next achievement, which is Ultimate Armament, for upgrading a weapon to its maximum level. We then go to Isle to restore vestiges. Restoring these vestiges gave us a total of 3 achievements. The first one being Davis's Memories, for viewing Davis's memory echoes. The next one being Maya's Memories, for viewing Maya's memory echoes. And the final one being Mirasama's Memories, for viewing Mirasama's memory echoes. Our next goal was to activate all the missiles. This required us to go back to all the maps and go through them trying to find these missiles. And after getting this final one, we get the achievement Miasma Manager for activating all missiles. Once again, we head back to base and we get the achievement Unbreakable Veil for upgrading our blood veil to the maximum level. The next achievement would require us to go to these depths maps, and these depths maps are like little mini maps with a boss fight attached. Upon completing the final depths map, we get the achievement Deep Trailblazer for exploring every part of the depths. While unlocking gifts, we get the achievement Gift Gatherer for learning 150 gifts. We get an achievement right after, which is Burning Spear, for unlocking the ability to inherit 50 gifts. And then it was time. Time to start our next playthrough. And as we loaded in, the realization that I had to do everything once again hit me, so we decided to speedrun it. So we just started killing bosses until we reached the final boss. We then take down the final boss without any issues, and it's phase 2 without any issues as well. And after viewing the ending cutscene and letting the credits play, we get the achievement Dweller in the Dark, for viewing the Dweller in the Dark ending. Soon after going through a memory, we get the achievement Mender of Mind, for restoring all vestiges. We check our presents a minute later and we get the achievement Proven Devotion, for receiving 30 presents from friends. We then had to do another playthrough as there was no more achievements we could get on this run. So once again, it was time to speedrun. After beating this boss, we get a blood code, which gives us the achievement Weaver of Wills, for collecting every blood code. Fast forwarding to the end, we take down Skull King with no problem. We also find out that doing the Heirs ending makes it so that you don't have to fight the second phase of Skull King. And after watching the cutscene, we get the achievement Heirs for viewing the Heirs ending, and we also get the achievement Demeanor of Fate for viewing every ending. Now after getting those 2 achievements, there was only 1 achievement left. And this required us to go through this tower thing and get medals. We would get medals each time we completed it, and we needed a total of 300 medals. On average, we would get about 6 medals per run, making this a very long process. But after a total of 6 to 7 hours, we would get it. We would finally get 400 medals, granted us the achievement Exiled Reputation, which is raising your reputation as a companion in rank 30. And we will also get the final achievement, Revenant Preeminent, for unlocking all of the other achievements. And that's it. We were finished. With a total of 71 hours played, and a level 230 character, we could finally lay the Chosen One to rest.